from abroad, Muftis and Sheikhs from Pakistan, Vice Chairperson of Borsa Istanbul, professors, students, ladies and gentlemen. In the beginning of my speech, I would like to thank organizers of this 3 days seminars here in İstanbul, Sabahattin Zaim University and in Borsa Istanbul. And I also would like to thank our participants and our muftis and sheikhs from Pakistan, who they came to give us some new lights on Islamic finance and on Islamic economics. And also I would like to thank the team of Borsa Istanbul and İstanbul Sabahattin Zaim University for organizing these events, 3 days events. And also I would like to thank all of you for being with us today here. So we will continue today. Yesterday, as it was mentioned before, we started in Borsa Istanbul. It was all-day session from the morning till 5:30. We were there, and today in the afternoon and tomorrow we are here. We will continue our discussion on the Islamic economics and finance, and I hope today to benefit meetings here for all of you. And I am sure the contributors from abroad will make some challenges also for us, because we a little bit we know the Middle East, the Gulf countries, we know the Malaysia, we know the Western world, but we know very little about Pakistan. So, and I hope their experience and their sharing experience and knowledge about Islamic finance, it's very important for us. In addition to that, he is not here now, but tomorrow he will be here. Mufti Takî Osmânî is the chairperson of the IOF Fetva Committee. As you know, we, as Istanbul Sabahattin Zaim University, we translated these all standards of Islamic finance from Arabic to Turkish. And in the morning there was the General Assembly of Association of Participation Banks of Turkey, and our Vice Prime Minister Mehmet was also there, and they announced this new contribution of İstanbul Sabahattin Zaim University to the sector, to the field, and I hope, and they declared that this is a challenge, a new challenge for Turkey, because in Turkey participation banks and also some insurance companies, the careful companies and some other institutions, they will make very big benefit from these standards, and we hope some new firms and new attempts will be appeared by following these standards, inshallah. And I am really very proud to be in front of you today, because we were leading these projects, and as Istanbul Sabahattin Zaim University, we made very big contribution to this issue. So I don't want to take your time. I would like to share some more things, but we are a little bit late, and I'd like to stop here. Again, thank you very much for being with us, and I hope a successful meetings here in 2 days, and hope good contributions to the area. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Professor Mehmet, for this nice speech.
Thank you.
And now I would like to welcome on stage Borsa İstanbul's Executive Vice President, Dr. Şenal Duman, to give his welcoming remarks.
Assalamu alaikum. Ahlan wa sahlan. My dear brothers and sisters, dear professors, students, and distinguished guests from Pakistan, and my good friend, the dear Professor Mahmoud. I'm really happy to be here and very much delighted and honored to have you here at this humanitarian economy and finance conference, which is being held the first day at our campus. It is very, very important to participate and to make the most out of such cooperation opportunities, especially at times like Muslims all around the world are facing very, very much hardship. At this critical time of the hour, our gathering today as professionals and academicians of capital markets in the Islamic states is very valuable and meaningful. And I'd like to start sharing some information about the conference, and we'll finally leave the stage to our distinguished guests who are all experts in the field. They'll provide us with a deeper understanding and insight into Islamic finance, and we will all discuss some of the challenges we face today, and also some possible sort of solutions into our problems. We started the day yesterday, the conference with demystifying Islamic finance. Everybody is talking about Islamic finance this, Islamic finance that. So generally we had discussions about how natural the Islam or Islam-based solutions can be fitted to our natural fitness in our today's society. And yesterday, also around 4 o'clock, we had a very fruitful closed door discussions with senior management of public institutions from Treasury to Central Bank, and on the topic of the implementation of Islamic financial system in Turkey. And we had touched upon some of the legal, financial, and regulatory, problems and probably solutions as well in that perspective. Today there will be a session on modern Islamic banking and finance, and session for scholars tomorrow on Islamic economics and finance, which Sheikh Takî Osmânî is very famous all around the world. He'll talk about our Islamic economics and finance issue tomorrow, inshallah. Everybody is welcome for tomorrow. Apart from the conference, we will have exclusive session with our guests on the role of Turkey in the growing global Islamic financial market, and we will talk about what can we do in terms of practicality of the problems we face today. As the management of Borsa İstanbul, we are very committed to promoting Islamic finance, and we believe that the conference is a precious venue for reaching and collaborating with other stakeholders of Islamic finance. And we know that Istanbul Sabahattin Zaim University is a leading university, and then you guys have a very special center here focused in the Islamic finance and international aspects of it. And so such fine institutions like your university will be our key prospects to collaborate more, inshallah. I would like to I'd like the conference to be very, very fruitful than the similar ones, and I'd like to be able to interact with each other after the conference in order to develop Islamic finance in Turkish capital markets. Also in Islamic countries, we have strong community with a promising economic and financial growth potentials. Our shared values are binding us together, and we would like to have more common projects with other Islamic countries with guidance of our kulliya, yani universities, Jamiatul Ulum, yani kulliya, with guidance of our distinguished guests and speakers. I am very happy to be part of this conference, and then I really appreciate for your coming. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you in the further projects and conferences upcoming, inshallah. See you also tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Vice Executive President Dr. Şenol Duman. We actually have made a mistake, a small mistake. It is, I mean, looking from the Islamic perspective, it is a big mistake actually. We were supposed to start with holy words, the Quran Kareem, and we missed that. So, inshallah, did the brother leave who was supposed to read the Quran for the Quran station? Did he leave? Okay, we'll do it qaza, inshallah, tomorrow, inshallah. So thank you, Dr. Şenol Duman, for this nice speech. Now we will leave the floor to Dr. Osmânî to give his speech on Islamic banking. Please, the floor is yours.
Kaç dakika? Zamanı sen yönet. 25 dakika. 20 dakika.
My presentation is...
Yes, they will upload it.
Kulağını da söyle abicim. Muhammed. Muhammed. Kulağını söyle 20 dakika. Yes.
Buraya da yansıtabilir miyiz görmesi için?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. Amma ba'd. Honorable professors of the Islamic University and students and all distinguished guests, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As we all know that nowadays Islamic banking system have been quite famous and it's very well known in the field of banking sector. And being a Muslim, it is our duty to know that what it is and why it is necessary to learn, whether it is right or wrong, or how it could be implemented. As you all know that the Holy Prophet ﷺ has mentioned in the one hadith that طلب العلم فريضة على كل Muslim, which means that to seek knowledge is obligatory in every Muslim. Seeking knowledge is very much obligation or obligatory on every Muslim in a sense which has been mentioned by the Islamic jurists that all Muslims should know or must know what is halal and haram with their associated works. If, for example, if they are eating something, they should know that which thing is halal and which thing is haram. And if, for example, if they are dealing, then we should know that which transaction is halal and which transaction is haram, which transaction is permissible and which transaction is impermissible. So it is important for all Muslims to know the basic knowledge of Sharia, which requires to provide them their permissibility and impermissibility, and their duties and their basic obligations. Beyond that, besides that, to become alim or to become scientist or to become engineer or to become any other, having any other degree for the cause of humanity, for the cause of Muslims, even, it is mustahab. It could be considered as, if we have a good intention, we have a good niyat for achieving that, so it would be rewardable, inshallah. It would give particular virtues, inshallah. But for the seeking knowledge of Sharia, to act upon it, to know that what is halal and haram for us, it is obligation as the other obligations like Saum, Salat, Zakat, Hajj, everything which we have as farais. So this is obligation to seek knowledge. And you know that seeking knowledge, especially in the issues of Sharia or fiqhi masail or matters of fiqh, it has been very much value in Sharia. There is hadith of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that faqihun wahidun ashaddu ala shaytani min alfi abid, that one Islamic jurist is more harder and severe on shaitan than 1,000 just worshippers. So it means that to become faqih, it is very much virtual. وَمَنْ يُرِدِ اللَّهُ بِهِ خَيْرًا يُفَقِّهُ فِي الدِّينِ. We all know about this meaning of the verse of the Holy Quran, that when Allah intends with someone to khair, so grants him knowledge of fiqh, specialization of fiqh. So there are so many hadiths. In one hadith there is mentioning that if you even know one mas'ala, one issue of fiqh, so you will earn the sawab and reward of 1,000 rakats of nafil. So I am saying to you, you know that mashallah you are studying in this mashallah Zaim University, and yesterday your mashallah rector were there, and they have mentioned that mashallah you have different faculties, especially you have the faculties for Islamic finance as well. So I would say that since you are getting the knowledge of Sharia about their muamalat, about fiqhul muamalat, that how to transact in Sharia compliant way. So inshallah, I hope from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inshallah will give you very great reward for it. So this is my first thing which I would like to say, that to tell you the importance of this getting the knowledge. And I will tell you a brief context in which we came here to start this program from our side, and especially brother has mentioned that we were familiar about the Malaysia and Bahrain, but we were not very much familiar about Pakistan, especially, and India, what happened. So yesterday I also mentioned, but I would briefly again discuss that. You know that the commercial interest was promulgated or prevailed since, or you can say that for about 200 years back. But Sharia scholars, especially in our subcontinent of Pakistan and India, Hindustan, they were discussing and researching on this subject for a very long period, for around 150 years. My father, Hadrat Mufti Muhammad Takî Osmânî, is very much famous in this Islamic finance, and his father, who was my grandfather, who was Grand Mufti of Pakistan and India, he basically did a lot of efforts towards Islamic economic system. He wrote many books on that particular things. And before that, his teacher and my grandfather's father, he also were basically engaged in these teachings, especially my grandfather's teacher, Hazrat Allama Maulana Ashraf Ali Thanvi rahimahullah. He has written many books about these matters, especially about the commercial interest and prohibition of interest, as well as the matters of the joint stock company, and especially new transactions of, for example, short sale, future sale, forward transactions, hedging, something like that. So you can say that since then, about 150 years back, these things are coming. And my grandfather, Hazrat Mufti Muhammad Shafi Sahib rahimahullah, who was the Grand Mufti of Pakistan, he wrote various books. First book is Islam ka Nizam Taqsim Daulat, which means that it has been translated into many languages, which talks about to how to distribution of wealth in Islam. The name is The Distribution of Wealth in Islam. He has discussed in detail different systems, communism, capitalism, the concept of ownership, concept of the factors of production, different matters he has discussed in that book. The other book which he has mentioned is Mas'ala Sood, issue of interest. So he has mentioned in that detail the types of interest, types of riba, and for example his history and different variety of riba, and all these rationale behind for prohibition of riba. And then he has discussed about the commercial interest and its prohibition, and then at the end in his book he has in detail discussed about the alternatives of conventional banking system, which is based on the partnership or based on musharaka or mudaraba. So now it is being used as main tool for Islamic banking. So after that, my father, Hazrat Mufti Muhammad Takî Osmânî Madadillahum, and I was seeing to him, mashallah, since my birth, alhamdulillah. So while I was in the age of 9, in 1979, he used to write a very detailed report in the Center of Islamic Ideology Council. It was first ever report published by the center, the governmental center, about the theory and practice of Islamic banking system. And that particular book is used widely and globally for its implementation. Then he was made member of different times for Mudarwa Association. Then he was part of the Darul Mal Islami when it was found in the late or mid 80s, mid 1980s, and then Faisal Bank, and then he started working with different Islamic banks, and then he joined Majma' al-Fiqh al-Islami, and he became the vice chairman of Majma' al-Fiqh al-Islami, and then he established IOFI, Accounting and Auditing Organization of Islamic Financial Institution, and Alhamdulillah, since then he was the chairman of its Sharia Council, of which issues the Sharia standards, which the Sheikh Ustaz has mentioned that you have translated it into, mashallah, in Turkish language, and you are teaching that also. So that particular ma'ayir or standards for accounting and auditing and Sharia standards, so he has basically was the main chairman of that particular thing. And then he has also did IFSB, Islamic Financial Services Board. Basically this IFSB is a standard making body for the regulations for the central bank, how to regulate Islamic banks. So my father is the chairman of that IFSB since its inception. He also works for IDB and ICD for Islamic banking. So Alhamdulillah, his service in this field is too much, Alhamdulillah, mashallah, very much. And especially one thing which I would like to mention, that he gave a very historical judgment in Supreme Court of Pakistan in early 2001, which says that you cannot deal in Pakistan in commercial interest. Every bank should be transformed into Islamic one. And he has written about the whole judgment was written about 1200 pages, and at the end, around in 200 pages, he deliberated how to transform all the economy into Islamic one. I would ask all the people to read that particular historical judgment because it's very useful for our history, and it talks about all objections, all questions and queries which is raised about the in commercial interest and about any issue about that, and everything it is covered, inshallah. So after that, government of Pakistan announced that they will not issue any license of new conventional bank, only they will issue the banking license of Islamic bank. So first license was given to Mizan Bank, where I used to work as previously since 1997, which was Al-Mizan Investment Bank previously. And it was first Islamic bank, investment bank in Pakistan that was given ultimately a commercial banking license. We started very humbly, just in a room in 1997 with 2 people. Now Alhamdulillah, Mizan Bank is the largest Islamic bank, having very wide range of products, and it has separate subsidiary of Al-Mizan Asset Management Company. We started with 800 billion, now we have Alhamdulillah 800 billion assets, and also there was no branch, now mashallah Alhamdulillah we have 800 branch across the country. So Alhamdulillah it's very wide. So I was saying that was the background of Pakistan, how it works in Islamic banking. Alhamdulillah, myself also have participated in that particular Mizan Bank, and then I was the member of the Sharia board of Central Bank for 8 years in Pakistan, and then there was that, and then my father became the chairman of the Sharia board of the Central Bank in Pakistan. So Alhamdulillah, we have developed the new prudential regulations and new regulation for different things. Even what we have done, that for the Bursa, for your exchange, as you call Bursa, we have two exchanges. One is called Pakistan Stock Exchange. We have developed there for screening criteria of shares, that which shares are permissible to trade or which shares are not permissible to trade or invest. And also it's called KMI 50 index, KMI 100 index and KMI All Islamic index. And we also have started in the commodity Murabaha, in the commodity Pakistan Mercantile Exchange, which is the commodity exchange market, the Murabaha section. And also we are starting in the stock exchange Islamic counter to provide some alternatives for different transactions like short sale, for repo, for buyback, or for margin financing, or there are so many things which usually hedging they do, which are not allowed by Islam because these are speculative transactions. So this was the background of Pakistan. Alhamdulillah, Pakistan is working, inshallah. I hope that what we did, that something we took from Malaysia, something we took from Bahrain, and what we thought that it is whichever is better for us in Pakistan, we adopted in our country. But we followed the standards of IOFI and IFFB as per the regulations of the central bank and the stock exchange. Now I would come to my presentation. It is basically that importance of banking, and then why Islamic banking, then worldwide position, then world economic history, what distinguishing Islamic bank from commercial bank, then Islamic banking today, the way forward. Why banking is important? You can say that banking is important sector nowadays in this modern era because it provides an opportunity of individuals to deposit their savings, their excess liquidity to the bank, and the bank collectively use these funds to finance different institutions or corporates or consumers. And they have a very big role in the trade of the country. So it provides an opportunity to business and government to finance their activities through obtaining surplus funds. But you know that commercial banks are completely haram. Why? Because number one, most of the transactions are based on interest, on commercial interest, on riba. It is haram. And the second reason is that not only commercial interest, they have some transactions involved in maisir or gharar, or in some transactions they are involved in uqud fasida. Inshallah, we will take later about that. So that is why, because of having riba, having maisir, if there are some transactions, especially in treasury operations, and having the gharar in different transactions, like sale and leaseback transactions, higher purchase transaction, they have the two transactions into one transaction, it's like a gharar transaction. So there are different transactions they have which includes these things which are not allowed by Sharia. So that basically creates a need that we must have an Islamic bank who provides Islamic banking solution. And we know that if we will not do that, we will not do any effort and just we will eat from interest or impure income, it is very much, it's very big sin according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know that what ayah says, that if you do not leave interest, that you should be ready from the declaration of war from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger. So one thing is that there is one hadith of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ayyuma jasadin nubita min suhtin fannaru awla bi. That means that any part of body, if it is nourished by any impure or impermissible income, it is entitled to be put into hell. And another hadith, the Holy Prophet ﷺ has mentioned that on the day of judgment, a person will not be moved from the place where he stands until he is asked about the sources of his income and the ways he spent it. And you all know that there are different ahadiths in which says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Holy Prophet ﷺ that people raise their hands in their supplications, in their dua. But how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept their dua, their supplications, while their eatings are from haram, while their eatings from wearing from haram sources. So it is very much necessary for everyone to have pure and permissible sources. Once we abide by the laws of Islamic banking, what we have to do? First of all, we should know that ahallallahu al-bay' wa harrama al-riba. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has permitted trade. You can do all types of trade, whether it is bay', or it is ijara, salam, istisna. There are so many. You must be reading the book Al-Hidayah Salis, Al-Juz Salis, in which different transactions have been mentioned. So you can do all these types of transactions. So what key objective you will get, you will be benefiting once you will do very compliant, Sharia compliant Islamic banking. Number one key objective is to ensure social justice. And you can know, you know that riba is prohibited, that because it causes